Hi everyone. Um, the topic for our discussion today is the big data, data analysis and data visualization. We will be discussing both elements for both the operations management and project management. And we are looking in the data visualization as one of the key important discussion, and then how big data analysis is important for making the best use of data for various operational activities in any business productivity. We will be also discussing in the second part of the session, that is time management, and we will look more in detail work breakdown structure and or product breakdown structure. So the topic for the operations management element of the unit today, when we say data visualization, and we think about or talk about big data analysis. Of course, data visualization is basically the graphical illustration, or is a more like graphical representation of information and data, which help organization for making various decisions by using visual elements like charts, graphical illustrations, graphs, and maps. Data visualization tools provide an accessible way to see and understand the trends, and then again the outliers, and then the pattern in the big data. For example, the various stream of data that we are using, collecting, retrieving, disseminating within the various activities of the operations management of any business. So the question is again how to give a definition, a short brief statement about data visualization. And we can see in this slide it is defined that data visualization, often it is abbreviated data viz, is an interdisciplinary field that basically deals with graphic representation of data. So we know that data can be in various form. We have audio, video, visual, text, narrations. So data can be in a various format. So we are here just more concerned and focusing data which is coming in graphic presentations, and that give us a lot of pictorial or different maps and charts which can help us for various decision through the graphical representation of the data. However, data visualization is a particularly efficient way of communicating when the data is numerous, huge, as for example a time series. You're taking, let's say, trend in the entire year, peak time, off-peak time. So we use time series as a tool. So data visualization is basically the practice of translating information into visual context, such as graphical charts, pie chart, bar chart, and to make data more easier for the human brain or human understanding, and pull the best insight from that data. So the main goal or the objective of data visualization is to make it easier for end user to identify pattern, trends, outliers in the large data set. For example, the big data that we are using, how to be visualized to get in a graphical and pictorial format. So data visualization, when we are looking with so much information, the sea or the ocean of information, a lot of data is coming from various sources. So we need to get the right information in hand. As we said in the earlier lecture, that data or information is quite tricky. So we need to be ensure that we have the updated, reliable the version of data which is more useful, the information being collected through data analysis in any operations activity of the business or within the business world. We must have a way to paint a picture of the data so we can interpret more appropriately or maybe in a better way. So the data visualization, we can see in the graphical illustration, if it's go with the time series in the different days of the week of the months or months of the year. So we can see if, for example, we want to know the revenue, the sales in a particular business, or the ton of customers or any transaction that's happening in a particular time frame. So how it is fluctuating with various products. So we can have bar chart or pie chart, but that's graphical illustration going to be helpful data visualizing, giving us a clear idea of what information means by giving it in a visual context through the graphical chart or graphical presentation, because data visualization make data more natural for the human mind to comprehend, and therefore makes it easier to identify trends, pattern, and the most important, to get the insight, more useful information out from the large data set at the same time. So the data visualization, as we discussed earlier, no matter what business or career we are involved and we have chosen as our career in various business sector, data visualization can help irrespective what business we are in by delivering data in the most efficient way possible. And we get the data visualization format we use to get the best out of the data as one of the essence. It is quite the essential step in the business intelligence process, because data visualization takes the raw data and then it model it and delivers the data so that the conclusions can be reached with the more appropriate manner. So in advanced analytics, for example, data scientists are creating machine learning algorithms to better compile the essential data into visualization that are easier to understand, and at the same time to better interpret the data to get the best out of the information, useful information through data visualization. However, when we are providing data visualization, we need to use it for better business solutions. So we have business challenges we discussed last week. We need to address the business challenges and have the right solution for business challenges. So when we are solving or finding a solution for any particular business challenge, it may be we use different techniques with help of data visualization, because data visualization positively affects on any organization decision making process within different activities of the operations management, because with the interactive visual representation of the data, we can make the right decision at the right time for the right reason more appropriately and more quickly. So the information delivery itself, we can use dashboards, interactive reports, and that is one of the very important role that a technological revolution has brought in the business perspective to enhance efficiency and effectiveness in the operational or the operations management activities, to get the data visualization using now the dashboards. It is more like the aircraft cockpit. When you're in the cockpit, you know all the in the cockpit you have all the data in front of different for example, the monitoring and controlling and operating the aircraft, how you can use with the right buttons that you have and the visualization. That's exactly we are using and applying in the operations of any business now with interactive report, which is not just one way, rather it is quite in real time with business intelligence. So the idea is basically businesses can now recognize pattern more quickly because they can interpret data in a graphical and pictorial forms. So the data analytics with data visualization, data recovery, and geospatial or geographic or in the geographic information system, for example, or geoinformation system, and then the data integration with the Meshups and the geographical information system. We're going to be talking more in the lecture session today. That's all providing quite an important solution for businesses. Here are some more specific ways that data visualization can benefit any organization, either in the manufacturing or servitization. But for example, how we can correlate the data. Without data visualization, it is quite challenging to identify the correlation between the relationship of independent variables by making sense of those independent variable with dependent variable. We can make better business decision when we can relate the data, can be the data directly or indirectly proportionate. So how we can have the correlation? Technology is again there for business solution to address this challenge. Again, when we look to, for example, how the organizations can get the best out of data visualization, we are looking with all these important tools and technique to be in place. For example, trends over time. While this seems like an obvious use of data visualization when we are using the statistical or mathematical models with trends over time, it is also one of the most valuable application. It is impossible to make predictions without having the necessary information in hand from the past as well as the present. So the trends over the time tell us where we were before, that is the past state, where we are now, the current state, and where we can potentially go in future. That's the expected future to be state. So it's very important that you have to bridge from where the business is right now and where you want the business wants to be in the future. So that is the information and the right decision to make with the help of data visualization is quite important and more appropriate. However, when we think about big data intelligence, for example, what is good for data visualization? So we get big data intelligence. So business intelligence for big data, for example, how business can be more intelligent to work as an expertise within the business operations management activities. So data mining, for example, and decision support system are some of the important tools that can be applied in any business to get the best out of data visualization, because a good visualization should establish two aspects of the data being presented. For example, data visualization shows the connection between data that are too complex to explain in words, both with text and its context. However, the data visualization make it quite easier for the end users to quickly understand the information presented as well as they considered as the outcome from various data collection or set of data. So business intelligence, data mining and decision support system or decision support software are used to minimize uncertainty in the business and to be able to make capable the staff or the operations manager to make faster, smarter decision. Often it is in real time. And that is the solution for business challenges today, that we need to make the right decision at the right time when it is needed more appropriately. And there we can get the help from business intelligence, data mining, and decision support softwares or decision support system. Particularly when we are looking to concern with the proper resource allocation, the optimal distribution of resources is one of the key challenge in the operations management to be more efficient. So the optimal distribution of resources to a specific or particular place at a particular time to achieve some specific objective or goal, that is the key purpose. Then we are trying to leverage the existing reporting system by delivering real-time information through dashboard, Meshups, and the electronic digital reporting. And these digital dashboards, or we can say the decision support system, or rather data mining, help for all the audience, the users, the staff to quickly understand not just the information, but also to get the best out of as the key outcome of the huge data that's represented in the graphical illustration. So we use a tool, a digital dashboard, as a cockpit in the aircraft, for example. And a digital dashboard is basically an electronic interface that aggregates and visualizes data from multiple sources, such as databases we are using from different silos, and we consolidate and have integrated database. Locally it is hosted file, and sometimes cloud computing, web services. So dashboards allow you to monitor your operations management activities, or you can perform different business assigned tasks by displaying historical trends, actionable data, and then you can see in real time the information that you can collect and disseminate. So that's quite helpful, because a style of reporting that depicts the key performance indicator, operational or strategic information with the initiative and the mindset that you are applying to interact or interactive display, that is the real-time interaction with the data to receive and disseminate for certain decision making. However, custom program to automatically and securely pull, analyze, and at the same time not just pull, analyze, and also display the data from the enterprise system. Cloud computing or cloud apps are in use. Data feeds external sources and then display the metrics accordingly more appropriately. So that means digital dashboards are quite helpful, because you're getting the graphical illustration with numeric numbers, and then you can easily make a decision with the time series, for example, and all this information is coming at one place as an electronic interface that aggregate and visualize the data. So digital dashboard as an information management tool which is used to track key performance indicators for various activities within the operation. So they also provide the metrics and other key data points which is more appropriate or relevant to the particular business department or different business activities for specific processes. However, through the use of data visualization, dashboards simply they further simplify the complex data or the complex data sets can be brought in a more appropriate manner to easily understand, and that provide users with a glance awareness of the current performance or the trend within the business or various activities of the business operations management. So the digital dashboard are basically helping organization to get the best out of the visual data for making in-time business using business intelligence with the system and making the right decision at the nick of time, which is the opportunity to grab, and that is more important because in business it is important to have the information in hand for the right decision to make. Otherwise, if the information is not there, it will be difficult to make the appropriate decision, and then it's possible we miss the opportunity. So we are looking for various important trends, logics, because the data that we are using as a dashboard, that dashboard is basically a tool for providing the information, and we can track and analyze and display the key performance, the various indicators like the sale, for example, customer satisfaction, different transaction and different hours of the day or days of the week. And this metrics and key data again help us to check and monitor the health of a business. So how healthy is the business, or if there is a need for any corrective action to be taken promptly. So department or specific processes, they all are customizable to meet the specific need of a particular department, let's say in any company or organization. So this single screen graphics or charts can provide quite helpful indicators for managing any organization or companies to become with the help to get this increasing popular tools in use for management decision, or making the different people, they are decision makers, to make the right decision with the help of electronic business or e-business platform. So digital dashboard can also help in various other ways, and these digital boards are basically vital to make a right decision. So various professionals, they use a dashboard to make a quick and appropriate decision, because if it is something regarding the weather, regarding the market trend, regarding the share or the peak or off-peak season, so that's what you can collect the data from the dashboard, and you can see, let's say if there is a call center, how many calls are received in a particular hours of the day, what is the peak time, how long each calls take. So this is quite helpful information that can help any line manager or the key decision makers to look into the data and then see how it can be predicted for future, what is really more appropriate to take on board for the as a right decision for the future of the operation management activities to be delivered. However, when you are looking to all this information, we are looking at the same time that the real-time insight and competitive analysis used to identify the items that require urgent action at anywhere worldwide, and then streamlining of the workflow and properly, for example, the purposing the resources or allocating or deploying the resources accordingly. So we need to see what is urgently requiring our attention and how the business need to be taking a decision to ensure the availability of the resources. They are more appropriate to be available, deployed accordingly. So data analytics and data mining, we know that data mining is a process that uses statistical, mathematical and artificial intelligence as well as machine learning techniques to extract, identify useful information from large databases. So that is where the analytics within data mining, we are looking the text from, let's say, documents, from different electronic communication and electronic business or e-business, e-commerce activities, e-transactions. We also looking for the text that need to be codified sometime with both numeric or alphabetical codes, typically with the extensible markup language. We use HTML hypertext markup language or XML, that is the extensible markup language, and the extracted data, so we get the predictable or predictive data mining tools that can be used to generate the real value from various items within the business data. So web mining or web content mining is applied, or it is used to understand customer behavior and certain time for various product or services of the business, evaluate at the same time a website's effectiveness for the portal, and they quantify the success of making or rather marketing the campaign. What is the how you can make the right approach for marketing, or you want to launch a new campaign for any product or services to be advertised. So that is again the help for data mining, for analytics to make the right decision to generate the real value from the decision. However, data mining or data analytics at the same time filter the old data to get the best out of which is more profitable or more in the best interest of the organization. So all data cannot be useful. So we need to filter the data, manipulate, and we organized and get the best out of it through like just illustrated in the funnel system. Retailing and sales, for example, they're predicting sales, determining corrective or correct inventory level and distribution scheduling among outlets, and at the same time they have to prevent any loss. So the marketing department or the team in marketing with the retail and sales, for example, they're classifying the customer geography or demographic that can be used to predict the segment which customers will respond to mailing or internet banners or buying a particular product. So how we can decide pull or push strategy within marketing, that is again depends how you can get the best out of data mining. And then we are looking in the manufacturing and production, for example, to predict any defects or error within the machines or any failure that are going to lead to failure, and finding key factor that control the optimization of manufacturing capacity. So we need to know how the information can be collected, disseminated to make the right decision at the most appropriate manner. However, when we look to the meshups, data meshups, we know that a data meshup is an integration of two or more data sets in a single graphical interface. So for your understanding, it is important that like meshups, nowadays there's a trend, you have a song and they're different, they take pieces of songs and they make one big song with a combination, they make a meshups. So the enterprise data meshups is basically is integration of two or more than two data sets in a single graphical interface. So you combine various data from different sources. So a business dashboard is for example, is a prime example of data mashup. It is quite hard at work. Most dashboards pull data from multiple or disparate sources to provide end user with an at a glance view of their business performance. So you get the best out of a set of data from different sources. So that is the enterprise data mashups, which combines business data and applications from multiple sources. Typically a mix of internal data and application with externally sourced data to create an integrated experience. So that is very important, to consolidate and integrate to get or give or provide to the end users with at a glance view of their business performance, especially to the key decision maker or senior management. It does not require a huge investment, but can be developed in hours rather than days or weeks. So that means the enterprise mashup is coming with the set of data from internal sources and external sources and different news data or data from different databases. So mashup examples are sets that combine a number of data sources, and as a result it creates a new service. For example, Zillow is an example of mashup that combine Microsoft Visual Earth data and various Microsoft learning system databases, or most the mashups use publicly. They are accessible for resources which sometimes you can get without any extra payment or license, so that quite free to use for general public to get access to the data and use it as a become a public document or a tool to use for different source of data. However, GIS, where we need to understand that how geographic information system as a framework help to gather the data. So the management of the data, analyzing, it is basically, we are looking here that the geographic information system basically capture, manage, analyze, and display multi-dimensional geographic data, which is also called sometimes geospatial data. Where things or people are, where they are going, what things are like, or what they are doing, that include the descriptive data within GIS. So we have uploaded a link, a video link in your week 5 workshop, which you can watch in your own time, that help to get the insight that how the GIS framework is used for gathering data, analyzing this data. It is basically rooted in the science of geography. So GIS interacts many types of data. It analyzes spatial location and organizes layers of information in the spatial or the location or the earth or the information into visualizing it, or the data visualization, which using both maps and at the same time 3D scenes. So we can use this GIS for capturing, managing, analyzing, and displaying multi-dimensional geographic data, which is the set of both in graphical maps and again 3D scenes for any geography, or we can say spatial location. However, the GIS can be used for weather or the map overlays. Let's say we want to know heat maps. Heat mapping is a way of geographically visualizing location, so that the pattern of higher than average occurrence of things like crime, activity, traffic, accident, or for example store locations can emerge. So we are looking here that this is where we are using for something which is a high alert, for example with the a location where we need for a particular product or for example a resource or reservoir for something in a particular country or in a particular state or in a particular regional location. Or we want to say that how we can create a heat up map, which is basically the interpolating a discrete point to create a continuous surface known as a density surface. Where is the huge population, for example, for a particular segment of the market? So at the same time, when we look to the map overlay, we have different layers, and the overlay is again the geographic information system operation that superimposes multi-layer of the data sets that representing different themes sometime together for the purpose of identifying relationship between different layers. Or an overlay basically creates a composite map by combining the geometry and attributes of the input data sets for different layers at the same time. So the GIS, the Geographic Information System, basically we are using as a computer software or as a computer system for capturing, storing, at the same time checking and analyzing or displaying various data related to positioning of the Earth, for example, for any particular reason. So by relating seemingly the unrelated data, the geographic information system can help an individual who is doing any research or maybe an organization, they better want to understand the spatial pattern and the relationship with different other important components. So we look to the data. We already discussed the overlays. We discussed the data we are using as a heat mapping, for example. We also discussed that how the information system can help for different application sets or data using software and hardware with the right people that are expert enough to get or carry on their research. So a working GIS integrates key important or 5 key important components, basically hardware, software, data, application, and people. So it basically leads to collect the data for analytics. So we get the GIS. You watch the video, which is provided the link for your own time to watch how GIS works. So we get the information. It's basically a computer system for capturing, storing, and creating to display the information, and is more in the related to the position of Earth's surface. And we have the important component here, the 5 of them. For example, the methods we're going to apply along with the data, information, hardware, software, and the people. They want to get the best out of the applications they are in use. So we need to get this system for data analytics. So we use big data. That's the information that we are getting. So big data analytics is basically the process of examining large data sets containing a variety of data type. For example, big data to uncover hidden pattern, unknown correlation, market trend, customer preferences, and so many other useful information. So big data is basically when we doing the data analytics is quite like a research project to find the trend and how things are changing, and all information that we are collecting, we basically want to use it with different applications. So big data analytics basically examines the large amount of data to uncover hidden pattern, correlation, and other insight. So with today's technology, with emerging advanced technology, it is possible to analyze the various huge data and get answer from it is almost more in time, or you can say in real time rather, or immediate. So the time when the information has to be available, it's going to help to make the immediate decision. That has basically helped and is rather the effort that's slower and less efficient with more traditional business intelligence solution. So we are looking for more appropriate quick decision. We have the integration and consolidation between various structured, unstructured data sources, including we discussed the enterprise resource planning. We have the data warehouses, databases, customer relationship management. We're going to talk about all the various data, audio, video, data in numbers or text. So we are using from various communication or telecommunication network. So the data needs to be processed, and we get the best out of the data analytics, and we know the report which going to be more specific to get a decision or make take an action almost immediately. Again, look into the video link for big data analysis to get more clear insight that how an organization, let's say Amazon, using cloud computing for big data analysis or big data analytics. So aviation industry, for example, how the data analysis we use these days, we can see the aviation industry or within aviation, airlines or airports, they are very much oriented for big data analytics. So the data distribution, basically big data and its distribution to get the best out of the business operations on day in, day out basis. Data disruption is the use of collected data from different sources to change a market by looking at what demographic or geographic, for example, what trend is there. You can build a platform or a service that caters more to the need of customers and their need to meet their need and expectation, and how you believe the customers are basically live, or what is the trend in the consumer behavior and how they work, thereby disrupting the market shares or other established companies. Let's say different airlines, they can come up with different tactics to use, and they can make a decision again based what is the demand currently and in the near future. So the disruptive innovation coming from big data analysis or big data analytics while processing different technologies in the marketplace, because the big data analysis is a disruptive force. It means that people require more than new skills, technologies and tools, that how you can make things in the market which gonna be a disruption to bring something new and maybe very innovative in the market competition. So airlines industries, they are basically using the big data for various reasons that they want to, particularly these days, the big data already affecting every industry worldwide. But when you see the aviation industry, of course, they are coming with a lot of competition. So that's why I've uploaded another link for you to watch with a clear understanding how big data is bringing innovation with the manufacturing of the airline as to disrupt the market with a new trend. What is the how the aviation industry can meet, or the airline industry can meet the need and demand or the expectation of customer in the coming days. So that means the big data in aviation, if you look to the report, this is very, very helpful report, how the industry is integrating big data within aviation industry. So the use of data in flights, companies have improved customer satisfaction. They need to create a kind of a research for communication and better service or customer care, increased knowledge of their customers and understanding their frequently flyers and keeping a loyal customer with a priority and better services, and improving the reliability of their aircraft to reduce the delays and potential lost revenue, for example. So the back-end operation, basically, for example, the safety 737 flight lasting for 6 hours will generate 20 terabyte of data from sensors. The goal is to anticipate safety issues rather just reacting to the data that is being collected. For example, instead of simply identifying successful product, airlines can use big data to drill down into customers' buying habit by analyzing the variables and aggregating the historical information. So airlines can predict, they can use the model to predict the customer's behavior and to generate therefore very personalized or tailored services to offer. So that is the important use of the data analytics in aviation industry or airline, because, for example, the baggage tracking using the RF ID, the radio frequency, the magnetic barcoding has massively increased in the last 10 years, allowing for real-time baggage tracking and routing at the same time. So it is possible to track from where the flight is departing or arriving, and if there is a transit in between, so how the baggages can also be tracked. So it is quite a comfort for the customer, and that is the disruption. Any organizations come with the innovative change that will be again something to attract the or get the attention from various customer or consumer and within the market. So the industry is basically they're leveraging the customer analytics within the airline and airport aviation industry. Again, if you look into the video, which is talking the chief executive, and they're basically trying to explain in the era of big data. So the business must be smart enough about how they display analytics tool to derive deeply valuable insight about their customer. So in this video, for example, knowledge they've been discussed for the big data analysis, and that is the Professor Wharton basically and the analytics expert Peter. They are talking with Raj, the head of the travel technology and strategy unit. So they are basically discussing the global business process management company to discuss the role of the analytics, big data analysis within the airline industry and its future, how they can leverage the customer analytics. So the big data business needs to be smart enough to deploy the analytical tools to derive deeply valuable insight about their customer. So if you look into the video and you watch it, you will get how the airline industry is leveraging customer analytics from big data analysis. So the GDPR now, the data we are using is again, as it says, sensitive. We need to know what data is in silos, what data is not to be in silos, and you need to think about that the general data protection regulation, GDPR, is basically a legal framework that sets guideline for the collection and processing of personal information from individuals who live in the European Union, because GDPR was initiated 2018 as a regulation to be in practice within the Europe. So GDPR is basically or clearly sets out the ways in which the privacy rights of every European Union citizen must be protected, and the ways in which a person or personal data can be or cannot be used. So we need to be more careful with the European Union, this new regulation, GDPR, and its penalties for the organization, corporate level data protection. GDPR, it places the organization, this is very important, that how all the processing of the information for data collection, monitoring, controlling, and complying within the legislation, while giving the compliance to demonstrate that how GDPR is one of the most wide-ranging pieces of legislation is passed by the European Union as a new regulation in the last few years since 2018. So it was introduced to basically standardize data protection law across single market and give people or customer or staff in a growing digital economy greater control over how the people can use or cannot use personal information within the certain activities of the operations or business management. So it carries significant penalties for non-compliance. That is again very important, especially when we think and talk about corporate level data protection. So in big data analytics, GDPR generally help to protect the data as per the regulation, because the processing of personal information can only occur when there is a legal basis for carrying it out. However, legal basis can be established where one of the following applies. For example, the person has given explicit consent. That is very important, necessary for the performance of the contract or compliance with the legal obligation, as well as to protect the vital interests of the person and a task carried out in the public interest or for the legitimate interest of the data controller. So that is very important, because the legal basis for processing should be recorded always for enhancing and improving the ongoing challenges for business rights solution. However, to meet the expectation and need of customer and individuals, for that reason, individuals must be informed of what kind of data is going to be used for who will have access to it. So that is very important to get the consent from whomever the data are going to be collected, where it will be stored. That is again important to be visible and clear, at least in the understanding of the people, and how long it will be held for. Let's say in your research project, organizations need to have their code of conducts, and they make it sure from where they're going to collect data and who going to access this data, who are eligible to access, and for how long they can store the data. So that quite ethical requirement from any data to be collected, even for research purposes. So they must give their consent for their data to be used or collected or disseminated. So the consent must be freely given, specific information, and if there is any unambiguous data, that need to be ensured, and people have to give the voluntary consent if they want to be part of this data base or data collection. Members cannot be forced into consent, or they are unaware that they are given the consent, especially if it is a health or a personal data. So that is very, very important to get the consent of individual. Obtaining consent requires a positive indication of agreement, basically. It cannot be inferred through silence, not objecting, pre-ticked boxes, or inactively. So we need to be quite clear with the positive indication of the agreement. That again give us the opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas for knowing what is the front end operation. For example, you look into the case study. This is very, very important. So see Know Me case studies. That is the British Airways. You will look to the ethical issues with the kind of data collection and processing. What level of data integration would be intrusive, for example? So what form of unstructured data could be gathered within an airline's operation? How could this be used to increase customer services, and how could it be used to increase revenue? Even looking to the business best interest and the operation efficiency and enhancement. So we are to be careful with the big data analytics and the data regulations as per the government, especially in the as GDPR is more oriented toward the European Union and the citizen within the European Union. So let's say how this case study can give you more insight and clear understanding. Read between the lines and share your thoughts and ideas. Look into your both core and recommended books, and I wish you all the best till the time we talk again in the next workshop.